Sifiso Siziba. I'm a former music student at Fuba School of Music, where I studied music from the year 2000 to 2002. Then it is after then we and a group of other students, we were recruited to go and study music at the University of Venda from 2003. Where Mr. Mugobane, who is now, I believe he's a doctor now, was the HOD at the music department, University of Venda. Yeah, that is me. I've been playing music for some time, started at church at the age of 16 or so. Till I went to school, continued, played with a couple of professional musicians from way back up until now, whereby I'm still in the field practicing, but I'm more of a studio musician now than a live performing artist. Yeah, my focus now is more into production. Yes, that is me, Sifiso. Yes.
What instrument do you play?
I was majoring in piano, and I still play piano. Part-time though, not full-time. As I said, I'm now more focused into production. And maybe what I forgot to say is that I'm the HOD of music at Grace Bible Church in the Limpopo region, the whole of Limpopo. Yeah, yes, I'm the HOD of music there. I'm involved very much in church music, yes.
So what do you mean by HOD of music? Are you employed by the church?
In our church, we more of volunteers in the field. There are no musicians that are employed. Our church is about 67 branches. So it is difficult to can employ all the musicians within the 67 branches. They used to employ some of the musicians in the main branch, Pimville. But looking at it, it was, I think, when they sat down and discussed and looked at the bill, whereby they needed to even look at other churches, because it became unfair that only musicians from the mother church, which the mother body, where we call it Mushate, Pimville, are only the ones that are getting paid, and all the other branches were not paid. I think that's the thing. They looked at it, they wanted to cater for everybody, but it was not possible.
Oh, okay. So what is the incentive for you to take the role of HOD?
I think my background played a role in me having the becoming the head of the music. I went there simply just to serve, attend church normally. I was not even involved in the music, and there was a challenge whereby there were no musicians. Initially, I started by training a couple of younger guys who were, okay, let me just give you basics so that you can go and play at church. By then, I was still what you would call at the free state, whereby I was not, I had not given my life to God and everybody and all of those processes. So I was like, no, let me assist them to have some people. Up until it came a point whereby I turned my life around, and after turning my life around, I started getting more involved. And after quite some time, they saw my dedication, my passion towards the music. There was no head in the department. So it was then I was called in and asked, would you like to head this department for now, for some time being, up until probably the suitable person would find a suitable person to head the department? I said, no, if you're saying for some time being, I don't mind. I can act the position, but it seems like now I've been acting it for more than 3 years.
What is your responsibility in that position?
My responsibility is to make sure the worship team is on point each and every Sunday, arrange rehearsals, make sure the sound is in tip-top condition. When there's some things that are missing, I must contact the head of AV, audio video. There's a head or where they are responsible in terms of sound. Whatever I need in my department, I must contact them. If our screens, because when we perform, there are screens that are in front of this, that are facing the musicians. They would display lyrics, song lists, and keys and everything, all of those things. If the screens are not functioning or if we're having problems, I contact them. My role is to make sure everything is perfect for the worship team and to make sure the music is in line with what the pastor will be preaching on Sunday.
So does the pastor consult you? How do you know what is he going to preach about on Sunday?
Okay. The bishop, our church, every first Sunday of the month, we stream all the 67 branches, they stream. The bishop will be preaching, and then from his preaching, he gives a topic that all the pastors will be running with for the whole month.
Okay.
Now, it makes it easier for us to plan the music according to what the bishop has said. So all the songs will be aligned to the message of the bishop through the following weeks to come. Yes.
How do songs align to the message? Are you talking lyrics? Are you talking song style? What are you talking about?
We're talking lyrics.
Or lyrics?
The message has to be in line with what is going to be preached. The style wouldn't matter that much, although what is important when we go to worship, there's a certain preference in terms of the style you're talking about. Like we can't be playing a fast song during a time to worship. We need to slow down the mood, create the environment to be conducive to usher the people into the presence of God.
Why is that important?
Prof, we musicians actually we play a crucial role because of we do the spade work for the pastors to come and just finish off. That is how I'm seeing it. And if we are not functional, we are actually making it harder for them to preach at the end of the day. So we are the workhorses, especially for the churches in general. So the role of musicians is very much important in the church. If the worship service is not on point, is not right, if we don't usher in the Holy Spirit so that there is a presence of God in the house of God, then the service becomes dry and then it becomes difficult for the pastors to preach. So it's very much important.
Okay. Now you started playing in a church yourself.
Yes.
And you are a piano player.
Yes.
Are you able to distinguish between a church-grown piano player, a secular piano player, or a jazz piano player?
Yes, I'm able to do so.
Can you break it down for me?
A church-grown piano player. In church, we've got I think we've got three types of let me say musicians. There are musicians who play, there's a certain style, they play itende, they specialize in that style.
What is the style itende?
Itende, we call it itende. It's more of your Sipho Makhabane vibe, that Natal Mpumalanga vibe.
Okay.
It's called itende, that style. There are those, and most of those musicians who play itende, it's mainly they would use two keyboards, one playing some organ sound mixed with some flutes or so, and some brass, Nyana sounds and your synth bass on top. They play that. They specialize in that, and they are good in that. Those guys. And most of the time, they haven't gone to school to study. They are not formalized. They would be playing in one key. It's either they play in F sharp, C sharp, or G sharp. One of the three keys.
Why the sharp keys?
The sharp keys, they are easily identifiable. Number one, easy to play. They are not difficult as the white keys. The white keys, sometimes they might look similar, they might look the same. But when immediately you start playing in the sharp keys or black notes, it's easier to find your way around the keys.
What is it? And E10, how do you spell it? What's the spelling?
You can spell it twice. It's either you spell it ITENDE or ITHENDE. It depends.
And then what does the word actually mean?
Well, the word means a tent, or you would call a marquee.
Or a canopy of sort.
Yeah, a marquee, or because in the olden days you would find pastors, they would take revivals to different towns, and they would just pitch up a tent, and then you'd find they plug up 2 speakers, and they only travel with a keyboard player who plays drums on the keyboard, plays bass, and plays everything. So the style, yes, developed from there. That is why it's called Itende, because of where it developed from. And then that's the first kind of music. I mentioned 3, and there are those who
yeah, sorry to because this Itende thing is very interesting to me. And even today, you still don't have a band on stage. Is this guy who's playing synth bass and accompanying himself on 2 stacked pianos. Is that what you're saying?
Even today you don't have?
I'm asking because when it started, it was this one guy with a Casio.
Yes.
And playing those things.
Yes.
Today, how do they perform?
Today it's fused with you'd find they use a real drummer now.
Okay.
But I've seen in the recent recordings the bass, these new bass players, they play keyboards as well.
Okay.
You'd find them on stage, even though he's playing bass, where he is stationed as a bass player, there is a keyboard.
Okay.
And when they tend to be playing the Itende style, he would put down his bass or turn it around and play the bass lines that are more of Itende on his keyboard. That's what they do these days. They play it in a band format these days. And it's a music that is, guitars, you don't find them prominent in that kind of music.
What is the usual setup, or what is the common setup now for Itende?
Itende, the common setup now it's a keyboard and a drum.
No bass player.
The bass would be done on the keyboard.
Would be playing on the keyboard.
Yes.
Wow. Obviously, and singers.
Yes.
Do they have a particular configuration of singers?
There is no particular, but the style of singing differs from your normal typical singing. There's a certain, I don't know how to explain the style. It's kind of raw kind of a singing, and which has some Zion flavor fused in it. It's just that it just goes.
Those exist.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it leaves more of your Western kind of music out, and it comes more to it leans more to South African, more the harmonies that we would be listening to, or your Zioni music, kind of that flavors. They fuse the two.
And then the harmonic blueprint would still be 145.
145, 154. Yeah, 145, 154.
Okay. And the next style?
The next type of piano players are those who are in between. They never studied formally, but they can play like the formally studied guys, and they can play like the guys who are not schooled. So they have the best of the both world, those ones. And they are more versatile. Those are the guys who are always out to prove a point. Most of them, they have huge and big egos. Yes, their main aim, there's this term we use in church, but we are teller, meaning you happening. So it's the guys who what their main purpose of teller, they just want to be seen what they can do it. Teller, and most of the time they overplay. They are all over the place most of the time because of their main aim is just to prove a point. I know 400 chords and I can use 400 chords within one, and I can use all these different styles that they just want to offload whenever they are in church. They are self-centered. They just don't care. they don't give space to everybody. They are those. And then you have you have the ones that are schooled, who are more of listening musicians. When they have to do something, they would have to listen, and they are more reserved, yet they play nice, they play beautifully. If I can give an example of one discipline gospel piano player, musician in South Africa, I would say Ngobeko Mbatha.
Okay.
Ngobeko Mbatha, he has knowledge. He has the language, because there's a language you can play, but if you don't have the language, there's a certain language now that is used within the gospel fraternity. If you don't have, you just I don't know, how can I explain? He has a lot, and he has got the experience, but when he plays, he always plays as simple as possible.
Let's talk about the language. What do you mean when you say he's got the language?
Coming from,
break it down in terms of harmonic or rhythmic or melodic, or
it's more harmonic.
Okay.
The gospel nowadays, it has borrowed more of your neo soul progressions. I don't know if you understand the neo soul music, the neo soul genre, the neo soul vibe.
I don't understand.
There is this thing. I have a keyboard here, luckily. If I'm moving from 1 to 3, I could be. Are you still with me, Prof? Okay, there is this. You heard that?
Yeah.
And then there would be this new way. You heard that?
It's a new way.
This it's a neo soul thing whereby they are using more of your sus2s than using your typical or triads or even sevens, doing progressions. Now they are more like leaning more to your sus2 kind of sounds. That kind of a thing. Okay. That happens. It's more of, as I was saying, harmonic. And what I'm discovering now, because of slowly I'm switching the way we schooled musicians are thinking, and then the way these commercial neo soul musicians are thinking, it's completely way different. It's like a key no longer exists in piano. I don't know whether in other instruments what I would say, but in piano, the way they play these days, I don't think they think in terms of keys. They more think, it's more like they think of sounds. How do you produce specific sounds? And if you're gunning for a certain sound, even if it's not in the key, but if it is the right sound that would suit a certain situation, they use that. And Tina, when we are schooled, it's like they do something to us. A typical example, if you were to put Themba Mkhize here and Andile Yenana here, ask both musicians to play your typical 145, you'll hear different things. Though we have Andile, who's an award-winning pianist, jazz pianist, formally studied, and you have Ubabu Themba Mkhize at this side, who's not formally studied. After they both play that 145, I'm sure many people, they would prefer the 145 that is played by Themba Mkhize than Andile Yenana, because of the flavor and the taste.
Okay.
So they differ so much, and now it's like I'm going.
You are saying the non-schooled ones have more taste than the schooled ones. They've got more of something.
I think school kind of puts some breaks into one's if stop from exploring and makes you focus on things the way you are taught. Okay. And then these other ones who are not schooled, they are more open to exploring. They explore and they discover things. And it just so happens with nowadays, we learn a lot from all these musicians who haven't studied formally. We visit YouTube. Most of these guys who are giving lessons, most of them, they haven't studied formally. And now we are following them and we are learning from them.
Okay. So what is it that made you want to switch from how you think into how they think? I know you are saying they are more liberated. That's what you are saying.
Exactly. You've just put it nicely, Prof.
Yeah, they are more liberated, and then they don't operate from knowledge that they operate on feeling or this thing. If I do this, it sounds okay. Okay.
And the danger, though, what you notice with these musicians, that your YouTube musicians, these commercial ones, your YouTube musicians, most of them, they don't have an ear.
Okay.
They, as explorative as they are, most of them, it's difficult for them to find keys in a church setup or whatever. People, when they start songs, they struggle to find keys. That I've seen a lot of times. They struggle to find keys, and we assist them. But no, yeah, this one is in G, this one is in what, and they play in specific keys. They do, as explorative as they are, they play in specific keys. They don't play in all the keys.
Which keys are those?
C sharp, Okay, D flat, E flat, A flat.
Or still those black keys that you refer to?
And G flat, A flat, E flat, D flat. Those are the keys.
Do they transpose? You know, those keyboards used to have the transpose function.
They transpose, and I was once embarrassed by this thing here, transpose. One day, I'm a Roland person. I know functionality of Roland. Whatever Roland you put on stage, I know how to function Roland. Now, where we were playing, our church is a Yamaha church. They use motifs, MOX, what.
Yeah.
This guy comes, uses the transposer. I don't know where the transposer is located and situated in that thing. So I thought the keyboard was on concert key, which is normally 0 0.
Yeah.
I had to start a song, start an intro. I start the song. When the band had to come in, they thought it's in a certain key. And when they came in, it was horrible. Because of they went to F, and I was playing on F, but it's just that he had taken the keyboard +6 up. And then at that time, when they came in, I had to shift and look at, okay, they came in there quickly. I had to find the key, and +6 up, it was something like B, or it was a B from F. I think it's B, yeah, somewhere. And I quickly had to rush and play from B. And the difficult part is that when you rehearse some certain songs which has some certain technicalities and movement in a certain key, you sort of like program there. And if you're going to play it in another key, not having run it through, it becomes difficult. And I had to play under those conditions. Yes, they use transpose, a lot of transpose.
I've noticed you're using the word movement. Why?
Movement, why?
Why aren't you saying progressions? Why are you saying movements?
I used to say progression when I was in school.
Yeah, what's the difference between a progression and a movement?
Maybe if I were to explain it like this, a progression could be 1 4 5.
Okay.
And then you can simply 1 4 5. Now movement in between 1 and 4, there will be things that are happening in between 4 and 5. So there are movements that are happening in between. So that is why maybe we say movements.
Okay.
So within the progression, there are certain movements that are there.
Hey, can you cite a typical movement, say from 1 to 5 or 1 to 4?
I think 1 to 4 is the one that I've just played.
Or
Let's say moving from 3 to 6.
Yeah.
From 3 to 6. This would be, let's say we in your D flat. This is 3. This is 6. Yes. Now what would be happening is,
okay,
there's that. That's a different one.
Okay. Okay. So these gospel musicians are big on that, on the movements.
Yes.
What is it that makes them big on movements?
I think it's trying to complement the vocal harmonies.
Okay.
Yes, it's trying to go. That is my opinion on it. Maybe somebody else would have a different explanation to it, but the way I'm looking at it, they are trying to complement the harmonies.
Yeah. Then you know Mahlori.
Yes, I know Mashur.
How would you classify him?
Good producer, beautiful commercial pianist, though he has a background, a formally trained background, but he's one of those who switched very quickly. He was able to switch very quickly into playing this new era gospel. Yes, very beautiful pianist, and he's got a good ear. Mahlori got a good ear. That's what I can say about him.
Why is he complaining that you don't show him some of the tricks?
No, actually, he's the one who should be showing me, because of I'm starting from scratch. I'm learning. I was not, because of I was at 369. This kind of a person, 369 sharp 11, kind of a voicing person. This, and then now when you go to church, when you want to voice like that, it doesn't work.
Okay.
It doesn't work. You need to find, you see that, you hear that. Yes, it's different from what I was doing before.
You're playing a lot of sound.
Yes, there a lot of sus sound, lot of diminished movements are happening. Sus and diminish, very big in the gospel.
Okay. Well, we've been talking more about a pianist. Would you say the bassist and guitarist and drummers are in that category as well?
Hey, difficult to say. Bassist, yes.
Yeah.
Bassist, yes. They are in that category because of, especially in the gospel field, bass plays a very important role. Very important role. Bass and keyboard, very important role. And then the third would be the drum, with the guitar on choruses, yes. But on worship songs, and we even forget guitar players are there. It's more of a piano player show. Yes, the bassist, yes.
All right. No, I think I got educated today. Interesting. So if a child, 9-year-old, 6-year-old rocks up to you and say, I want to be the baddest piano player in the world, what would you say to them?
Start by studying classic.
Why?
Technique, very much important.
Okay.
When you have the proper technique, it gives you the freedom to be able to do whatever you would want, whatever situation. It strengthens you even in terms of sight reading. So I would advise, if you want to be the best, start by just doing your classic. If you can give yourself 4, 5, 6 years just doing classical music, just focus on that. Then after that, when you see you are fine, then you can slowly start moving into these other genres that you think you want to move to. Because of, if you've done classic and you've got the proper technique, it's easier for you to play jazz.
Is that a fact?
It's not a fact, but it's easier.
Yeah, because there are so many classical musicians who can't play it
without a sheet in front of them, they can't play anything.
Whether you put a sheet or not, the feel and the understanding is just not there.
That's why
you don't have them dominating.
That's why you said, Prof, 9. Yeah. From the age of 9, you can start classic, build yourself, build the proper technique. And then once you are done, by the time you are 16, 17, it's when you can start venturing into these other genres. Then you are opening yourself up to be exploring and playing whatever you want to play. I think it's important to get the foundation right.
Okay. No, Zibarens, thank you so much. Just listening to you, I feel a little bit down because you speak so well as a scholar. I can just imagine, where would you be had you finished?
I still plan to finish.
Yeah, but now you're a family man. Where would you be had you finished?
If I had finished,
you would probably be a professor by now.
And probably not active in the music industry.
Yeah, but well off and able to tell us where to get off as far as music is concerned.
Well, it's not in my gene to tell people where to get off.
No, nicely. you just did now by telling me how this thing works. I get the capacity that you have to explain and to see it and to be able to put it in a manner that is logical. It's what it's all about. I don't think a lot of people can do that, you know. And if you look at the role that you are now playing, gradually you are becoming a mentor, someone who doesn't have a need to show off anything, but to share whatever he has.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been quite something. Well, we live to regret some of the things we do. But damn, you are so eloquent, and then one wonders, what can you do with it?
We'll see. Only the future will tell, Prof.
Yeah, you are so eloquent. You could easily stand anywhere in the world and tell them what is happening. This is a nice recording. I'll download it. I'll send it to you. Keep it, watch it, and then you'll see what I'm saying.
Okay, now we'll do so, Prof.
Thank you, Baba Siziba. Thank you so much, my brother.
You're welcome, Prof.
Sharp.
Thank you for the opportunity.